Yeah, Gavin, it was a massive win for Waterford. I was so delighted for the lads to get that hoodoo off the back, like, to get a championship win. They didn't have it in a couple of years, and I think there's more relief when the final whistle against Cork went, like, that you could see the enjoyment on the lads' face, I suppose. Just the monkey off your back, Gavin. We're such a good team down here to not have win a game in 2 years, and people talking about it more than anything else. Like, that we were looking at to win a game 2 years ago. Let's be honest about it. With the goal against Tipperary, there wasn't a goal, so we're very unlucky not to win a few games in that year. But again, it was so fantastic for the management team too, Liam and the boys, to finally get over Cork and get the result. People were saying Cork or this or Cork or that, but Waterford have never feared Cork, Gavin. Over last long time playing, and they showed that last weekend again. They really brought the game to Cork, and I was very impressed with their fitness levels, their attitude, their work rate. A proper Waterford team that really went out and did what the manager wanted to do.
And full value for it in the end, and I know it was only 4 points, so that scoreline was probably very flattering from Cork's point of view.
Definitely, yeah. It should have been probably 6 or 7 more points, but all they wanted to do going up there that's the start of the year when they got the draw is to win the game, get to Munster final. And I suppose it's a massive prize getting to Munster final, yeah, but the biggest prize after that then is an All-Ireland quarter final. So Waterford are in a real good situation at the moment, and there's nothing more, the next 2 weeks training, nothing more enjoyable, Gavin, than going training and preparing for a Munster final. Granted, they're training under lights for this time of the year, but to be preparing against the Munster final, against that, given no chance going in against Limerick, what a situation to be in for the boys, and I'm lucky enough, Gav, to see some of their training some nights when I'm below with the ladies. And the intensity of the training they're doing is unbelievable, and Liam Carl and his management must take credit for that.
Absolutely. People spoke about that savage work rate and hunger that Waterford brought to the table then that day against Cork. Is that something they need now again on Sunday against Limerick?
Yeah, definitely, Gav. People say to me Cork didn't show up, but then they were on the left show up. Let's give the lads some respect. They outfought a very, very good Cork team on the day. So they did. People tell me that Cork were this and that, but I'm sure Liam and the boys didn't worry about Cork. They worried about their own game and bought their game. And it was against Limerick, Gav. You saw the way they played last weekend against Tipperary. They were phenomenal. The two teams, even to their credit in the conditions, they show what both teams could do. But Limerick were absolutely awesome, Gavin. And the power, the pace, the way they played the game. Never do they come off. Never do they change anything. You must credit Limerick and John Kiley, because the hunger he's installed in these players, keep winning is unbelievable, and again I have to credit Limerick and John Kiley, because try and keep 30 fellas happy this time of the year. You can see their fitness levels. Obviously they trained through COVID unbelievably well, Limerick. The way they kept going in the conditions. Definitely the Clare game bottom line going into the Tip game. I thought, Gavin, that they had a game played where Tip didn't have a game played, and it really showed. And so it did. And look, the boys will be up against it, but look, when you're there, 2-horse race, you're there with a chance.
Yeah, you're in with a shout. Yeah, 3:26 the last day, 2:16 from play in monsoon-like conditions, Dan, and their work rate and their physicality. Is that something Waterford now will have to match the next day?
Yeah, how are you going to match it, Gav? Because if you look at our lads, a lot of them aren't as physical as the Limerick lads, so Liam and the management team must come up with a plan A or plan B or whatever, maybe a plan C. I'm sure they are intelligent enough to do that, because Limerick are a big, strong team. They have a big, strong panel, Gavin. Some people seem to forget about the players they can bring on, and the players they haven't started. Richie English is nearly due back as well too. Massive player in the full back line. So they have never whinged about Mike Casey being missing. They've got on with it. They put Morrissey back full back. He's dealt brilliantly with, but he's a man I would target on the big day. I think Stephen Bennett could really trouble him. So he hasn't been tested yet. Granted, he was on Seamus Cannon, but I think Seamus had his better game. But Stephen's after a game now, and he on his game he can trouble anyone. But again, it's going to take a phenomenal effort, Gav, to beat this Limerick team. As you said, they're a big, strong physical team. They play the system that they don't break, that is non-breakable at the moment. Kilkenny caught him last year, let's be honest. Probably would have went on to win the All-Ireland. But again, I'm sure Liam and his management team will come up with a plan to try and counteract that, because if you go toe-to-toe with them, they're going to be in trouble, Gav. Simple as that, because they have the physique, they have the hurlers to hurt you. If you make a mistake, they will hurt you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the Limerick full back line. Is that maybe an area Waterford could exploit, get quality ball into the likes of Stephen Bennett and Déise Hutchinson the last day on his debut, showed well, 3 points in play? Yeah,
he did. To his credit, and I predicted that, Gav, to be honest with you. I thought he's a good hurler, he had a great club, got playing. So Stephen had I think he missed 2 frees, but apart from that his work rate was unbelievable. Being honest, Gab, I think the forwards need to chip in with a few more scores, and that's not being critical, that's just being honest. That's what I'm here, from my honest opinion. I think they have to chip in with maybe 2 points each to beat this Limerick team and try and create maybe 1 or 2 more goal chances they have to take. But again, as I said to you, the lads in the management will look at this and they'll have no doubt they'll plan what they have to do to get the result, but again, going into a Munster final, not be given a chance. I think it's the best way you could go into Munster final, Gavin. But again, Limerick are phenomenal. They have just absolutely key players all over the field. No one ever saw that Keane Lynch would go centre forward last Sunday. What a master stroke from John Kiley, because he was picked up straight away by a different man than Brendan Maher. You know, Hayes went back, wing back. He did a phenomenal job on one McGrath. You know, so that's the talent that Limerick have, like, you know, and they can put a corner forward, back in Barry Nash. I do think they can get to the full back line. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I do think so. Yeah, Barry Nash is a forward playing corner back. Morrissey's always played all his holding at wing back. You know, so whether Richie English is able enough to come back into that defence, you never know. Them with John Kiley, he might do something different again, Gav. He could have another trick up his sleeve. Could have, because you just don't know. But look, it's all about what Waterford bring, how they bring their game, Gavin, to next Sunday at 4:00, and not worry about Limerick's. Actually, a John Kiley column there last year, he said 90% should be based on your own team and 10% on the opposition. So I think Liam and the boys will slowly study that. They have another week to do that, like, when they're not at the field, get into the lads, this is your job, A, B or C. I do think they have a chance.
Absolutely. I want to look forward to now the Waterford backs the last day. Absolutely outstanding. Dan, none more so I suppose than Tyg de Borca, you know, to see him back from that cruciate and to see him lording that centre back position. It was a real lift to everyone, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Gavin, I'm so happy for Tyg. He had a serious knee injury, and to come back the way he's come back, it just gives the man look, I don't want to be building him up. He wouldn't like me to be here building him up. He's just that's the way he is, to be honest with you. He's a gentleman off the field. He's not so gentle on the field. He wants to win, so he does. But he's such a leader. I have so much time for him. He's one of the best centre backs in the country. Do you know? And I think people should leave Austin alone now and leave him play in the forwards or midfield, and leave Tyg number 6 for a while, a couple of years, and then build your team around the two boys. But at the moment, Tyg bucks the way he reads the game. Prunty behind him, the way they communicate. Socky behind him. There's a great spine there, like, you know. And I have to say, our backs were absolutely outstanding the last day. Granted, one or two key cock forwards got Horgan got 5 from play, and Kingston got 4 from play. Harmony got 3, so they still got 12 points from play, like, you know, but which isn't too bad from a good cock forward line, like, you know. So there's little things they have to tidy up there. But I think Caleb Lyons has been a revelation. 2 points he got were unbelievable, but his goal was fantastic. To do what he did, Gavin, the drop shot. I've scored a few goals myself in my time, I never tried a drop shot at the pace.
Just going to say, you don't see it around really often.
Even the day after, again, I think Jake Morris got the same thing. He went to be hooked and he drop shot it again, like, you know. And it's very hard for a keeper to predict that and stop that, like, you know. But again, it's credit to the fitness levels of Caleb Lyons and the Waterford lads, like, you know, up and down the field. The minute he scored a goal, he pointed back and automatically one lad had covered him. But that's the way they're playing, Gav. That's the way they do blown training, and you have to give the boys a lot of credit for the intensity they bring to training.
Absolutely, yeah. Big occasion on Sunday for Waterford and indeed Limerick. Many people don't have them tipped for the All Ireland, that they're saying they're seemingly unstoppable at the minute. What do Waterford have to do now to maybe topple this Limerick outfit on Sunday?
Yeah, Gav, I suppose, like, you know, they've won the league. They beat Clare to win the league. Like it or lump it, that's what they did. That's the way the COVID has bought that. They're in a Munster final,
going for 2 in a row, of course.
2 in a row, 100%. And they're just they're a bit like Liverpool at the moment, Gavin, if just in comparison, because they want to win. Sometimes it doesn't go right. At the moment, they're the team to beat. I've said at the start of the year, whoever will beat Limerick will have a great chance to win their Ireland and Munster. So Waterford will have to beat Limerick to win Munster. But I can guarantee you, John Kiley above and his dressing room or his selection committee or whatever they meet, they're drilling in this. Like, if the League One, they're 70-80 minutes away from winning Munster, and they're 2 wins away from being our Ireland champions. To be some year for Limerick hurling to win League, Munster and All Ireland, three of the main trophies to be won in 1 year, in 2 months. That's what they want to do. Now it's up to the Waterford lads to stop them and do their best and try and stop them Sunday week. Can they do it? Of course they can. Every team is beatable. You've seen that in other sports, and so you have. And it's how you bring your attitude, it's how you bring your A game. I think at this time of the year, the less mistakes you make, the better chance you have of winning. Because if you make a mistake against Limerick, they will punish you. Do you know? But again, I'm just so happy for a lot of young lads. Fair dues to the boys in the management. They brought on some lads that maybe didn't get looking. Darrell Lyons came on, he's brought in energy. Billy Powell came on, brought in energy. Montgomery came on, brought energy. People might have questioned that, but obviously Liam and his management team trust the boys. And they did particularly well when they came on. Like, you know, I suppose there's people who say to me, it's easy to cycle a bike going down the hill when you're winning. Do you know? But that's not the Waterford lads' fault. They were on top of the game. They brought on the boys at great times to push on, and they got a great result against Cork, because Cork died all of a sudden.
Absolutely, yeah. And that Limerick forward line, Dan, which you touched on there, Hegarty, Galan, these guys are really on top of their game at the minute. Is it about as much cutting out the supply going into them as maybe focusing on them themselves, I suppose?
It's hard to cut out the supply, Gavin. You've such a a man like Keane Lynch that just pops the ball to the man in the best position that they can go back. Nicky Quay can go short to his corner back and they'll work the ball up the field. So it's so hard to stop Limerick's game. How do you do it? God, if we all knew that, the answer to that, we'd be managing a lot of teams, Gav. But they're just so good at the lean off the ball. If they make a mistake, they still work hard to get back the ball. Like, you're going to have to match them for intensity. Waterford have to match them. I think they're as fit as them, Waterford, which is brilliant to see for the time of year. And let's be honest, a lot of the results will be down to fitness levels. But Limerick bring power, they bring hurling, they bring attitude, they bring a game plan they stick to, no matter what's going right or wrong. And you must credit them for that. Again, you mentioned fellas there, Galan. I think he's in fourth gear at the moment. But by God, when he's finished with Conor Prunty, he'll know about it. Do you know what I mean? If Waterford can get their matchups right, Caleb Lyons, Morrissey's on that side. I think there's Tom Morrissey's on that side. He won't like chasing back Caleb Lyons. Do you know? Kevin Moore is well capable of doing a massive man-man job, as is Shane Fives and Shane McNulty. And you mentioned Tighe earlier on. A lot of help from their midfield is needed and their half-hour line. And your man was so right a couple of weeks ago when Limerick, or Clare versus Limerick, the half-hour line should have been meeting Hegarty when he was coming back. Do you know, not leaving it up to the wing back to come out so much out the field to create the space for the lads inside. And I think the Waterford half-hour line have a massive job there. They have to meet the Hegartys, the Morrisseys, the Keane Lynches. When they come so back so far, they have to run into a brick wall and crowd midfield. But look, Gav, it'll be intriguing because it's great to have the sport this time. Like last Sunday, Gav, was a long day, but the conditions are there and with COVID, and to sit down and watch all the sport on television last Sunday, it was unbelievable. Especially, granted for me, Grant, I'm fairly young, but for the older generation, Gav, to sit down and watch the GA games there Saturday and Sunday, Gav, was phenomenal, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it gives people that lift on, doesn't it?
Oh, Gavin, it does, because you can't go anywhere. You can't 5k. You know, personally, I'm lucky enough. I'm involved with the ladies that I can go and get out of the house Tuesdays, Fridays, and maybe one game once the weekend, which is fantastic, Gavin, to really appreciate how lucky you are to get out and do your bit and keep going, because even now the lads should be enjoying going training. Tonight's a lovely night for training, or any Friday night that's dry, like, you know, and you're lucky because time of the year to get down there, do your training, shower and go home for the time of year it's fresh. But for the older people watching games, there's something to look forward to in 2 weeks. Granted, listen to WR this morning, get your bunting out, support the boys. You can't go to the match, but there's other ways you can support them, and they know that, the lads know that, and to play in a Munster final, Gav, is the second biggest. To win a Munster is the second biggest trophy. Obviously, All-Ireland is the biggest. To win a Munster medal, I'm lucky to have for them. It's just a massive feeling when you celebrate with your teammates and you're there to put in a massive effort all year through COVID. You get the reward. You won't have a better feeling. Obviously, your better feeling is winning All-Ireland, but to win Munster is one of the best enjoyments I've ever witnessed when I was playing.
Absolutely, and of course last time Waterford and Limerick met in a Munster final, Dan, was 07. A final point, I suppose, before we leave you go. You got a hat-trick that day in Thurles. I'm sure it's a one you fondly look back at. Yeah,
again, I'm not one of these fellas for looking back. I'll be brutally honest with you. Right. I look again, it was a good day for myself. It was a great day for my family up in the stand. It's a great day for supporters when you think about it. Above 40,000 up there to have support like that.
It's like going to be chalk and cheese now next Sunday.
It is, like, and I think there's a lot of pressure off players, Gav, when they go out, and maybe free takers that there's no crowd around, and it brings that little bit of pressure, no pressure on people. But again, Gav, I was lucky enough to play with some great players, Gavin. So I was lucky enough to train some great players. Some of them are still playing. But again, that day when we beat Limerick, like, you know, it was one of my highlights of my career. But as I said to you, delighted for my family at the time, but I was so happy for my teammates as well. Do you know, it was when that final was Aidan Kearney had that ball in his hand and the referee blew the whistle. It wasn't about Dan Shanahan. It was about Waterford winning another Munster title. And do you know, it's not a feeling that you, obviously it's a load of feelings you get in life, but as a hurler on a Munster final day, to get that victory, whether it was 10 or 7 or 4 or 2, you know, they're hard to get. We haven't won one since 2010, and we're too good of a team not to be pushing on to win more of them and competing for Ireland's, Gavin. Look, I think the boys are great lads, and I just hope they work so hard to give a great account of themselves to get Limerick and get a bit of luck, because they're going to need luck to beat Limerick, because they are the best team in the country at the moment.
I think we've well summed up on that score. Don't forget, Waterford and Limerick is the George Corbett Skoda big match live on WLR this Sunday with Kieran O'Connor and Shanahan on commentary duty from 3:45. Dan Shanahan, pleasure as always. Mind yourself.
Gav, thanks very much.